Straight ahead on IU NewsNet, when temperatures drop close to zero like they are now, staying outside can be dangerous. We'll show you how Bloomington volunteers are mobilizing to provide shelter from the cold.
And AI has entered the classroom. We will explore how IU professors are evolving their teaching styles in an effort to keep up with the evolving technology.
And are you feeling the stress of midterms coming up? IU's new wellness house is here to help you relax, recharge, and refocus. IU NewsNet starts now. A winter blast is creating dangerous wind chills this week here in Bloomington. Welcome to IU NewsNet. I'm Lacie Carr.
And I'm Razan Omar. Wind chills makes it feel like it's zero or below. That makes it tough on the unhoused, and local volunteers are working to make sure everyone has a safe place to stay. Bloomington's Severe Winter Emergency Shelter provides a warm overnight space to the unhoused community when the winter weather conditions become unlivable. That has been the case most of this week. In partnership with the First Christian Church and First United Methodist Church, volunteers are able to provide about 30 beds each night, but volunteers say on frigid nights, the demand usually exceeds that.
It feels like I'm looking at them and telling them that they didn't make the cut as someone who deserves to stay somewhere warm. And the reality is, it's deadly conditions out there.
Once the shelter reaches capacity, finding another one with an open bed is not always a guarantee. Bloomington has a web page detailing all of the resources and shelters for the unhoused through the bloomington.in.gov website.
When the wind chill falls to zero and below, there are steps you can take to keep yourself safe and your pipes from bursting. Here are some tips. It may sound obvious, but stick with layers of loose-fitting clothing when you go out. Frostbite can set in on exposed skin within 15 minutes when temperatures are below zero. Investing in a car cover can help protect your vehicle from snow and ice. You should also start your car a few minutes before leaving to ensure your engine has time to warm up. Finally, to prevent your frozen pipes, you can open your cabinets where the pipes are and leave water dripping through the faucets. When the snow and ice pile up, one thing in Bloomington gets better, the cost of parking. But it doesn't happen every time the snow falls. The city of Bloomington waived meter parking fees in early January after heavy snow and ice made it challenging to park, use sidewalks, and access meters. Going forward, parking will sometimes be free during the winter weather, but it's not always a guaranteed policy. So, how can you know if your parking is free? You can try paying through the Park Mobile app. If the app won't let you pay, then you're in luck.
A new Bloomington initiative is helping residents weather the winter storm season. The city's Council for Community Accessibility has launched the Snow Buddies program. The effort aims to assist residents with disabilities and elderly individuals during snowy weather by matching volunteers with neighbors in need for the winter season. Volunteers commit to clearing a path from the resident's door to the sidewalk, including any steps as well as the public sidewalk along the property, every time it snows.
What happens is people clear the snow up to their end of their sidewalk, but they don't clear the curb ramp. And what happens is when plows come around, they shovel snow right in front of it. And so then it's hard to get over those humps. For people who are able-bodied struggle to get over there, myself included. So it's really nice to be able to ask them potentially to help with that.
A Bloomington ordinance requires homeowners and businesses to maintain a 36-inch wide path free of snow and ice, or face a fine of $50 to $150. Those interested in volunteering or signing up for assistance can apply through the Bloomington Volunteer Network or the city's Snow Buddies program webpage.
Bloomington's Board of Public Works has approved a 9-month closure of protected bike lanes on East 7th Street beginning this week. This closure between Grant and Dunn will remain in place through November 21st. It supports redevelopment of the former IU Poplar site where new graduate student housing is up. Pedestrian and cyclist detours are in place, and the south sidewalk and nearby alley will also close. City engineers say this option minimizes disruption and maximizes safety. Now to a hit-and-run accident involving one of our own. Our own Jack Bassett was struck by a car earlier this week right here on campus. Fortunately, Jack is okay, and he's using this experience to raise awareness about pedestrian safety. He's outside the sample gates with an important reminder for students and community members about staying safe while crossing the streets. Jack?
We're taught to look both ways before crossing the street, but sometimes that advice just isn't enough. On Monday evening, I was crossing the street here from campus at Indiana and Kirkwood, but that's when a vehicle failed to yield as I was crossing the intersection, resulting in me flying back into a snowbank. Thankfully, I'm okay. The only thing I was left with was a bruise and a bit of shock. But this whole situation brought to light the need to be cautious when crossing the street. I spoke with Bloomington's bicycle and pedestrian coordinator to find out how to avoid an accident and stay safe.
We cannot assume that someone is paying attention to us in the realm of safety and transportation. We have to be a bit defensive and look out for what's coming.
Duncan stresses on a campus like IU, thousands of students cross the street every single day, navigating traffic, bicyclists, and scooters on a regular basis. To stay safe, he recommends following these tips. Always use designated crosswalks and follow walk signals. Jaywalking may seem quicker, but it's risky. Make eye contact with drivers to ensure that they see you, especially at night and in bad weather. Put your phone away and remove headphones when crossing. Stay aware of traffic. And even if you have the right of way, stay alert. Drivers may be distracted or fail to yield. I also spoke with members of IUPD who said that safety is a shared experience between pedestrians, bicyclists, and drivers. So whether you're riding your bike to campus, driving, or walking, stay alert and do your part to look out for others. Reporting for IU NewsNet, I'm Jack Bassett.
ChatGPT, Bard, Claude, DeepSeek, generative AI has worked its way into our vocabulary, and now some teachers are starting to embrace it in the classroom. Our own Ava Fiermuga joins us in studio with the story. Ava?
Technology as a classroom distraction is nothing new to teachers, but the recent rise of AI platforms has prompted some instructors to reconsider their approach.
For many college students, their first experience with AI came during 2023, just as AI platforms were taking off. Using AI for schoolwork is controversial, with some seeing it as cheating and others as a tool to enhance one's work and understanding.
And for me personally, I kind of saw it as cheating. But then freshman year of college in my English class with Milo, it really started to become more of a way to support your work and come up with more ideas, not really just as cheating or to do your work for you. And it's definitely something I use more now because of that.
Although some students abuse the technology, Professor Milo Hicks opts to embrace AI as a tool, setting clear boundaries for its effective and purposeful use.
I think students are going to be using it, and I want to think about how to incorporate it intentionally and make it feel like that I don't want students to lie to me about whether they're using it, because as I emphasize in all kind of aspects of my teaching, I want to be providing meaningful feedback, and I can't provide meaningful feedback if I don't know what writing is my students versus what writing is not theirs.
AI is so powerful that it can create just about anything, from avatars to voice alterations, but its real impact is creating high-quality human-like work that mimics student writing, but it raises concerns about originality and academic integrity.
In fact, I'll bet you wouldn't have known that AI generated that blurb.
Hicks' approach focuses on AI's positives by creating a policy and requiring student acknowledgement.
I just try to figure out how can within the space of my classroom can I encourage students to use it productively, learn how to use it, and realize if they don't think it's useful for them.
New AI models are being released at a rapid pace, causing professors like Hicks and professionals across various fields to adapt accordingly. Back to you guys at the desk.
When we come back, a new club at IU builds and strengthens the community around students with type 1 diabetes. See how this group is bringing support to those who need it.
Plus, vintage clothing is making a comeback among Gen Z. See how and why local shops are bringing new life to old trends. Stay with us.
Remembering the life of a fallen hero. A beloved firefighter and EMT lost his life in a single vehicle crash early last Saturday morning in Monroe County.
Leroy Terrell, a captain and medical training officer with the Pleasant Run Fire Department, is now being honored with a heroic send-out before he is laid to rest. Tyrell worked as a firefighter and EMT for multiple local departments, including the Monroe Fire Protection District, Lawrence County Fire Territory, and the Leedsville Fire Department. His colleagues say they will remember him for his passion to fire service, his leadership, and unwavering commitment to helping people.
IU has a new mental health and stress relief option for students. The new IU Wellness House, formerly known as the Undergraduate Education Building, is open on Eagleson Avenue. Its creation, funded partially by the Students Helping Students organization, holds 4 drop-in rooms featuring various lighting and activities for students to feel relaxed and refreshed. The drop-in rooms include a quiet room, fireplace room, meditation space, and collaboration area. The building also holds 2 reservable rooms for students to hold meetings or study sessions.
It's great because sometimes the IMU can be really overstimulating and the library is usually always too crowded.
The Wellness House is located at 625 North Eagleson Avenue, right across from the Student Health Center. For more information about it or to reserve a room, visit studentlife.indiana.edu.
There's a brand new club here at IU, and it offers support to students and staff living with diabetes. The Type 1 Society had its first call-out meeting at the Wells Library. The club plans on meeting every other week for students to socialize and mitigate the struggles of life with type 1 diabetes. For more details and future meeting times, you can find them on Instagram, Type 1 Society IU.
It's tax season, and if you need help preparing yours, you can get it right here on campus for free. The Maurer School of Law is once again offering its volunteer income tax assistance program for IU students and low-income Blooming residents. Every Monday and Tuesday night through March 25th, students and residents can receive help on everything from how to file and what documents to submit. In 2023, the service saved residents and students nearly $400,000 in tax preparation fees.
Indiana University has been added as a defendant in a lawsuit by 2 Indianapolis-based business owners seeking $2 billion in damages. The complaint alleges trade secret theft and non-disclosure agreement violations. The Indianapolis business owners had enlisted a professor and 5 former Achilles students to consult pro bono on the development of luxury golf course in Puerto Rico. The lawsuit alleges the class violated their NDAs by consulting with a competitor about the plans, allowing them to steal the land and plans. Defendants claim they never signed NDAs, and one of the student defendants is planning to sue the plaintiffs for defamation.
Have you noticed that everything old is new again, at least when it comes to vintage items and their popularity with Gen Z? IU NewsNet Matt Vogel has the story of what is behind the trend.
For Gen Z, the newest retail trend is reviving old trends, whether it's clothing, books, or music. In Bloomington, stores such as Book Corner, the Antique Mall, and Cherry Canary Vintage Clothing have been attracting more Gen Z customers.
It's like, I feel like a lot of the older trends are coming back. So a lot of people are trying to shop vintage, especially since like a lot of the newer brands, everything's so expensive. So a lot of people try and like thrift stuff or find stuff more vintage.
People say this drastic rise is also because of emerging trends in social media, such as communities like Book Talk and reflecting on the Y2K era.
You see like definitely influencers, they're like, oh, you know, Y2K is back, and so people are coming in trying to find the newest stuff.
But why is old stuff so appealing? IU psychology professor Dr. Edward Hurt says nostalgia plays a role.
Sense of, you know, people having an appeal of something that they personally have experienced, and there's sort of the idea of nostalgia often being something that's very personal to the person. You know, I remember back to when I was here, I did this.
There's also the matter of inflation. New clothing is more expensive, and for some thrifters, there's an environmental aspect to reuse, affordability, sustainability, and unique styles. For IU NewsNet, I'm Matt Vogel.
When we come back, you'll meet members of the IU Tennis Club who are seeing their sport grow despite the rise of pickleball and racquetball.
Plus, we'll tell you how the frigid weather impacts college baseball and softball teams here in Bloomington and across the country. Stay with us.
Welcome back. It's a quiet week for IU sports, but there's still plenty to talk about.
Nick Rodecap joins us with sports. Nick.
Thanks, guys. Indiana men's basketball gets a rare off week in mid-February. Hoops fans might not appreciate it, but we do because it gives us a chance to highlight what else is going on in the world of IU athletics. The Indiana women are back in action tonight. They host Ohio State at 7 and head to East Lansing on Sunday. Terry Morin's Hoosiers are looking to build momentum heading into the postseason with just 4 regular season games left. Softball has won 8 in a row, and they'll try to stay hot this weekend in Texas. They play 5 games between Friday and Monday, with a pair of contests against number 12 Texas Tech being broadcast on ESPN+. After an 0-4 start to the season, baseball heads south for games against Fordham, Harvard, and Northwestern, while women's swim and dive looks to defend its Big Ten crown in Columbus. Men's basketball hosts Purdue on Sunday afternoon and Penn State on Wednesday night as the clock ticks towards Selection Sunday. Mike Woodson's Hoosiers are running out of chances to secure their spot in the big dance, while the Boilers have lost 3 straight for the first time in 5 years. And you've probably noticed that Indiana baseball and softball spend a lot of time on the road early in the season. They go south and or west, looking to escape the blistering cold and the snow that often comes with it. They can't do the same for practices, and the consequences are greater than you might think. Indiana baseball canceled Wednesday's home opener due to snow and frigid temperatures. Like many teams outside the South, the Hoosiers spend the first few weekends of the season away from home. They are often unable to play or even practice outside during the week due to cold temperatures and snow-covered fields. This inconvenience stretches further than a couple of missed practices or a canceled game here or there. With softball season starting in early February and baseball beginning in the following weeks, teams look to spend as much time outside as possible, especially after winter break. This gets difficult the further north you get. It's a problem for about 75% of the country, and one that recently led Missouri head softball coach Larissa Anderson to call for a fundamental change to the calendar.
My number one focus is to shout from the rooftops that they need to move the softball season back. Softball should not be played in February, period. Like, there's a reason why Major League Baseball spring training hasn't started yet, and that they don't start playing games until April. Like, we got to speed that up.
This is echoed by Indiana head baseball coach Jeff Mercer, who often says that his team plays a summer sport in the winter. It's not as simple as pushing the season back by a month. The college softball regular season ends right around the end of the academic year in early May. The MLB draft takes place 3 weeks after the Men's College World Series in mid-June, and that's by design. The schedule gives pro clubs one final chance to scout some of the nation's best college players before drafting them. These are just a handful of reasons why the Diamond Sports begins so early. While baseball and softball teams can deal with the cold, it's harder to deal with snowballs when you should be dealing with baseballs or softballs at practice. The Big Ten hasn't won it all since Ohio State did it in 1966. With warm weather being a draw for recruits, it's no wonder why the nation's best talent tends to head south. And baseball will now play its home opener next Tuesday at 4 versus Xavier. Softball has to wait a while longer. They won't play at Andy Moore Field until March 7th, another 2 weeks away. Little 500 riders have felt the cold too. With a record 36 women's teams registered, track time will be a hot commodity once the snow melts. This year's Women's Little 500 is making history, but with only 33 spots available, qualifying will be tougher than ever. Despite the competition, the women's teams have a tradition of supporting one another. They motivate each other during training, and they celebrate the growth of the field. Once the track opens, riders will gear up for what could be the most competitive Women's Little 500 season yet. And we hear a lot about the rise of pickleball and racquetball, but how about tennis? It's been around since the 1800s. Fast forward 250 years, and the game is still growing, especially here in Bloomington. Isaac Perlich has the story.
Late nights at the IU Tennis Center are nothing new for members of Indiana University Club Tennis. Practices run from 9:30 to 11 p.m. during the winter months, but that doesn't stop its members. As it turns out, not much stops the game of tennis either. The game has added more than 21 million players in the last 5 years, according to the International Tennis Federation. Club member Eli Rutherford says he's noticed the game's growth.
Courts are always full with people who've never played before, and they borrow rackets and just play, they hit, they have fun. And I think that's really what tennis is all about, especially for me. Like, if I want to hit the crap out of something after a long day, or, just wanting to be a part of a team, that's what tennis is.
Tennis is also the 4th most popular sport in the world, and it's not slowing down. Despite competition from other sports, including pickleball and racquetball, tennis is still on the rise in the United States. And for club tennis at IU, its goal is to make the sport a grand slam in the city of Bloomington. Hayden Puthenvedel, an executive board member, says the club's impact is more than just tennis.
I've met so many genuinely kind and chill and cool people through an organization where I thought I'd just be playing tennis. And you grow those bonds and relationships that are really, can't trade them for anything.
With the weather warming up and spring on the way, the club will start practicing outside as early as next week when the temperatures are expected to climb. Once again, a thin week for sports, but that's going to change quickly. Now, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Nick. One more thing before we go, a story about sports reaching out to a community in need.
Indiana Club Hockey is teaming up with the Hoosier Hills Food Bank to make sure no one in Monroe County goes hungry. Adam Oppenheim has the story.
It goes well beyond the sport of hockey.
We're playing for something more than just ourselves and our team, and we're fighting for someone else.
The fight that Indiana Club Hockey is battling is food insecurity around the Bloomington community. Some of the proceeds from Saturday's game against Cincinnati went to the Hoosier Hills Food Bank, whose
primary mission is just to make sure that no one goes hungry in our 6-county service area. That's the bottom line. We believe there's enough food out there, and we believe that no one deserves to go hungry regardless of their circumstances.
The Hoosier Hills Food Bank was started in 1982 after people realized that lots of food was going to waste. And still today, that is a persistent issue.
It's really unfortunate to see that people have to struggle with being homeless now, or the fact they can't even find their next meal. And the same city we go to school at every day, and the same city we get to play hockey in.
Although the support has risen for the food bank, so has the number of people looking for their next meal.
Community support is absolutely critical. We need volunteers to support our operations. We need financial donations. We need food donations. We need advocates out in the community.
And there is also something not everyone understands about food banks.
What a lot of people confuse about the Hoosier Hills Food Bank is it isn't a food pantry. A food pantry serves people directly, like ramen or popcorn. Here at the food bank, they distribute this food over to the food pantries all around Monroe County.
Getting to help someone else in need, that when we're fortunate to have food every night, roof over our heads, not everyone has that ability.
From Hoosier Hills Food Bank and Frank Southern Ice Arena, I'm Adam Oppenheim.
That's it for IU NewsNet for now. We have a behind-the-scenes student production team in the control room and working in the studio for this broadcast. We thank them and we thank you for watching. I'm Lacie Carr.
And I'm Razan Omar. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at IU NewsNet and on the IU Media School YouTube channel. Take care and we will see you next week.